welcome to another episode of the Top Corner Podcast. And today's Monday. Your co-host today is Julian and your host is Jordan. How are we doing today? And 12/16/2024.
Captain
I know
Clock,
y'all have
start
missed
date. Yeah.
I know y'all have missed it, man.
We missed you guys too. I guess. I don't know. Some of your little twerps. It's true, but
a lot of news going on.
Yeah.
A lot of games or matches going on.
Matches.
Yeah, always have games in my head. I don't know why. I guess just
It's the American in you, boy.
Yeah.
I do the same thing too, though. I fuck up and say games. I say teams.
Yeah.
It's like I just say club and school. Like figure it out.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if I say game instead of match, and you give me a problem for that, I'm thinking that your priorities in the sport lie where they shouldn't. So.
Well, if you say games to someone that don't live in the US, though, it might be.
I tell them to go fuck themselves, though, because it doesn't matter.
What he's talking about? What do you mean by games?
Because we're talking about the same sport, and you can deduce if the English are so well educated.
Yeah,
they can deduce what I'm saying as a dumb American, even though we're talking about the same fucking thing and they know it. Anyway,
well,
yeah, get out of here.
That's the thing. But let's start with this FIFA news. FIFA 2030 and 2034 FIFA World Cups. 2030 will be the World Cup. 2030 will be hosted in 3 countries with 3 additional countries as centennial celebration.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. So it's mostly, I think, Morocco. 2030 will be Morocco. I thought I had it here.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen this news yet. This is the one thing on it. This is the one thing from our docket today that escaped me. I wasn't able to check it out.
It was like the first one, but it's all right. Actually I know. So the host of 2030 is pretty simple, which is Morocco, Portugal, Spain.
Okay,
and
cool.
The 3 centenary celebration matches to take place in South America. I think Paraguay, Uruguay, and I think Argentina, if I'm not wrong. So along the World Cup celebration, they will have matches that will take place, but I think it's one per countries.
Interesting.
That's just for the because in 2030 that will be the centennial anniversary of.
Yeah, well, because the World Cup coming up now it's split up between multiple nations as well.
Yeah.
Are they slowly trying to? And I'm not saying this as if you're like on the board and know all the answers. Like it seems like they're trying to kind of separate singular countries from hosting, or at least trying to add, I guess, like multinational setups here. It's interesting.
I feel it depends if a lot of countries are bidding at the same time and they feel like the no one wants to kind of host it individually, because in 2034, which FIFA is getting a lot of backlash for this, Saudi Arabia is hosting it. And haven't we learned from Qatar? That's what everybody's saying, because guess what? It might be, probably will be in plain December, and it means that a lot of clubs and a lot of it means the FA, the Spain championship, La Liga, all these different associations will have to redo their calendar to accommodate that, and might be players might not want to play as hard because after that they have to go to clubs. So all these are coming back to where they kind of facing the backlash. But one thing that they said, I wouldn't say they said, but that was roaming around, is because there were not enough counting bid in 2034 and Saudi Arabia was the only one.
Of course, they were with their hands raised very high.
And guess what? Before they actually, before they all voted on that, I think the vote was took part last week. The English Association before that day in the morning said they will unanimously vote for Saudi Arabia. So everybody was saying, that's interesting because Saudi have a lot of hand in Jeff, but a lot of money around,
and they've got on the world stage not the best reputation as well. Not everybody loves going over there. Actually, less people like going over there than do like going over there.
Yeah, so a lot of people are actually, just to cut the show, a lot of people are they're raising all these questions, especially what happened in Qatar, especially building all the staging where we have heard, and it's not just a rumor or something back talk, because there was a lot of documentaries about it, even by other nations that supported the country to get the World Cup, had documentaries on how they were kind of taking advantage of people to build the stadium, and in the course of that, some people lost their life.
Yep. Yeah.
They had to. The incentive was wondering if we should start applying human rights and that you play in winter, which is really, you know, it's the middle of the season. There's just a lot going on, so a lot of people.
I can't stand that personally. One, it's a summer thing because it's always been the summer thing.
Yes,
but also, I mean, it's got to fit into the calendar without breaking things up like that. Like
now you're also thinking, even think about the mass and the population. A lot of people are mostly free in summer. In the sense, and because summer is it's a little harder. People take vacation. It's more easy for people to fluctuate, and you know, there's just a lot of things that I personally, but you know, a lot of people are saying it's all the money they've been given. So of course they will have gotten this.
Whatever.
Yeah, let's go to Benzema. Benzema is planning his retirement next May 2026 and will definitely become the ambassador of Madrid.
Yeah.
Coming back to the club that he gave so much to, and the club is kind of giving back, and both vice versa. So it is the irony.
He seems like he did not enjoy his time in Saudi Arabia much, and it's really, and we've had the conversation.
And he's Muslim.
Multiple times, and you know, we don't need to harbor on this either, but like it seems like there was the dream, like when Ronaldo went over, and a lot of high profile players came over again to follow him. No one was even close to being treated as well as him.
Yeah,
they shouldn't have been expected to be either.
Yeah,
but we can all agree that it was painted as this picture of, well, look, you know, like he had a part in that, of saying like, look at how glorious this league is. Look at how well they're going to take care of us. Look at the competitive nature of the league. And everyone else other than him really either hated it, or it's fine. Like just it was never really, and again, it reminds me a lot of that push in the late 2000s to early 2010s of the Chinese league.
Yes.
When they had like Alexander Pato and some of those guys come over and trying to really say, you know, this is like the next project.
Oscar, all these people going over there.
Now they have more money than China that they're willing to at least dump into this league. But I think that the word got around even quicker this time that this is what it is, and it's like whether you want to believe it or not, like it is the retirement league.
Yeah.
Certain players will be treated much better than others, and your likelihood of being treated in that top percent is very, 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 very low. Not even really Neymar got that treatment, although his injury record was part of the reason that he was not really laid out the red carpet. But even still, I don't think that he would have been treated the same way either. I think that there was a lot that went into Ronaldo going into the Saudi league that looks a lot like Messi going into the MLS, where like a lot of this entire movement was tailored around the one person, and no one other person fits into it with him.
But don't you think that at least one thing that the Saudi league kind of did a little bit better is trying to I guess probably marketing wise a little bit different, because at least right now you hear a lot of their name, Al Ittihad, Al Altifag, Al Hilal. You hear a lot of these guys in the news, although it's not the way it was marketed wasn't what a lot of these players going over there expected. What they expected but did not deliver, and now they were all in shock. But you should kind of known this in a sense.
Are you comparing the marketing of the MLS to the Arabian League? Or?
Probably more the Chinese, because the thing I think MLS has, first of all, it's the language, you know, and another thing is like it's more known, it's popular. You know, than the Saudi. The Saudi just kind of emerged like recently out of nowhere, but that's money, you know. But I'm not comparing both, but more the movement for how the Chinese league in the 2008 and all that. But I think feel like they did better marketing.
Because I think that the Apple deal that MLS cut with them, I think that actually kind of hurt them a little bit. A lot of people don't have Apple TV, and they don't want to get Apple TV just to like subscribe. Like if it's on cable, they'll watch it. A lot of people, and then a lot of people forget the Saudi Arabian league, that the entire league itself is not funded by the nation. It's really the top. Like there's a reason that you kept seeing the big players go into maybe 3 or 4 clubs, because of the 20 in that top flight, not to mention the relegation system as a part of it, were the ones that were actually being funded in this way. So it wasn't the league itself. It was 4 teams within the league.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're superpowers, and they were the ones that were historically the most winning anyway.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, Paul Pogba, Man City is thinking, and this is per the Independent.
They're thinking, and they better think twice.
Source.
Think twice,
thinking
boys.
About getting.
Think 3 times.
They're thinking about getting Paul Pogba. And what do you think about it? Especially, I think he's been in the news lately because he's planning his return. I think ideally he thought he wants to stay at Juventus, but I don't think it's gonna be possible. But he started back training and everything. And do you feel like City should abandon that and just think otherwise and try to find someone?
Yes, because we know, and we had touched on it. Maybe we just kind of recreate our early discussion on camera here before we started rolling. But you mentioned Busquets at Barcelona with Pep being slow, although he was in his prime, and the system around him was built to accommodate that. I would say the slower pace, and I don't even just necessarily mean like his speed, his flat out like acceleration and pace. I mean his dribbling on the ball, the way that he advances play. A lot of what City have issue with is possession and pace, moving the ball to accommodate the consistency of their possession. I think the last thing that they need, personally, is a guy that's looked for the last 5 years or so that he's kind of jogging. Everybody already looks like they're jogging. Kyle Walker looks like he's jogging right now. And I don't know, like you need someone that can thread passes, sure, but if you're already lacking possession, where are these long threaded passes really going to come from? They can't have stable 5-yard link up play. They need to be able to keep the ball. They need to be able to track back because they're defensively in shambles. Is this the guy that you want in front of Vardiol and Diaz right now? I don't think so. And he's not the guy that is going to lead in the offensive buildup. He's not quick enough on the ball anymore. So I just don't see where he fits into that. I don't see where.
And for me personally, I can see the thought behind it if he's going to play like a Busquets kind of deal. Although Busquets was his prime at Barcelona, but he was slow. He was
slow. He was.
I mean, Pogba will probably be faster, 10 times faster than Busquets, but the abilities Busquets was so slow. In fact, he was so slow that's one of the reasons that make his strength, because I don't know if you ever saw this anime called Kuroko Basket. There's this guy in the playing basketball, but he's kind of invisible. The reason is because his presence is not noticeable, and that's the same thing for Busquets, because he make all these passes and thread them so well, pinpoint accuracy that you can. And because he's that slow, he's already thought about everything. But I don't think Pogba can be that type of player. Now I can see if they're trying to do passes and all that, but I don't know if that will suit his player, because Pogba likes to go up. And with his age, and age might catch up to him. What we say, father time might catch up to him. So I'm not sure. I think right now they should probably think about rebuilding, in a sense of bringing some more youth energy into that.
Yeah, for sure.
With the way it's going, I read this comment, it might as well put us in the MLS with the amount of 30-year-olds we have in the team. That's from a City guy. Though right now, I think they're really in a bit of a pickle.
Because they've got many problems with none of them with easy solutions.
And it's not
in every stage of the.
I don't want to hear about it's because they don't have Rodri, because right now, even if they had Rodri, it will still be kind of the same in a sense. That's how I see.
It's the play style. It's the tactics. It's uniform lack of quality. Like you could have Rodri in there playing like an all-star. That doesn't change the lack of fitness with Kevin De Bruyne. I don't know what's going on. Phil Foden is completely off the mark. No one can get the ball to Haaland, and even when they do get it to him, it's not the idea is not quite there. The back line is in complete shambles. So what would you even ask Rodri to do? Would he be helping that back line? Would he be sitting back deeper for safety, protecting the back line, and letting an out of shape Kevin De Bruyne work the offense? Or does he, is he the one that advances? And now all of a sudden, Kevin De Bruyne is the one having the track back.
I think they're just
making
out,
sense.
they're out of sync. They have to redefine the play style, and they have some people that don't meet the requirement anymore for that play style that they used to play.
Yeah.
If they still want to play that same play style. Now, if they want to change, it's different. But that same play style, knowing Pep Guardiola, some people don't meet the requirement anymore. That's just the reality.
Yeah. Well, then really fast on that, who do you think in this entire this month's long issue? I have a question. Who is the most out of form? Like, who is the biggest detriment? And then who is like the one player that's, because no one's playing well, so I'm not saying who's playing well.
Kyle Walker has have like a sudden I don't know. It's so rambunctious. It's like the decline is just amazing to watch.
Yeah.
It just went from 100 to 0 real quick. Like the way he plays now, it's like he don't even have the heart in it. It's jogging around, not fast enough, which is crazy to say about Kyle Walker. So I think
you think Walker
is just because of how impactful his side has been and how detrimental it's been now, where you really feel like, when you watch the game, you can really single him out based on action, individual actions you can see.
I would say really fast on who we think is the biggest detriment. I agree with that. I see why you say that. There's one other player though that I think, because his
Guardiola?
Yeah.
Because I knew you were going to say
because he's been like, I mean, look, you mentioned the decline.
Yeah.
Guardiola never really came up. Like
Yeah.
even when the rest of the team was a bit more cohesive, he was always the one when he was playing on the left wing. When everyone when every center back was fit, he was the one that you just.
Yeah.
He was always out. He was always making bad challenges for the ball. Not really conceding penalties, but like if you have to go up in the air, he can't defend in the air that well. To me, he's the one that he was patient zero in the decline. Don't get me wrong. I do agree that Walker, once his decline started, it impacted the team much more. I do agree with that 100%. But there's one player that you could single out that was already declining in form before everybody else did, and I think that was Guardiola.
Okay.
I think that was an awful signing. And then so who is the one that's been the least impacted and the least detriment?
I think Haaland. Because you can always Haaland is not out of form. It's just that the ball is not getting to him, and when he does, he's gonna make out something out of what he has.
He is not quite as tidy as he used to be.
But
he's also getting less opportunities to get the ball anyway.
I'm saying on average for everyone on their based on their skill. Foden, we can say Foden, but
he's still trying.
He's still trying,
Yeah.
I think, but if you had to rate everyone based on who still got it, and if the team just changed tomorrow, will you see the level of productivity increase back? Yeah. I think that would be Haaland. That for me.
Yeah,
sure.
And I think that aside from yesterday's game, because I've thought about this for a while in this decline. If you scratch away the Amad Diallo goal from yesterday, the big chip over the top, I think that Ruben Diaz has been at least the one person in that back line that was not completely falling all over themselves. And I don't think that he was to blame for the Amad Diallo one. The fact that he immediately carves past Matheus Nunes, Guardiola's nowhere to be found. Diaz is the only one that really seems like he's attuned to what's going on.
Yeah.
And he's the one that's the farthest away from what's happening. And then Ederson either rushes up too early or too late, but you could argue that maybe he could have sat back a little bit more. Because even when Diallo brought the ball down, there was still a ton of work that needed to be done to get the ball in the back of the net. But I think that Diaz has been okay.
Yeah,
but
I would say hold that thought. Kolo Muani out of PSG.
Yeah.
And is it confirmed going to Leipzig in January?
It looked
or
like,
is he going to Leipzig?
What does look certain is that PSG are very much willing to offload him in January.
Okay.
They're not happy with I think Luis Enrique basically said that he was not part of the
team,
the vision going forward, and that pretty much means you got to go. There were early nods to Leipzig in January. However, United seem like they're interested as well, which that would make a lot of sense considering this whole Rashford thing as well. And you can almost tie in all three of these stories together, really.
I would say United should not go for Kolo Muani.
Really?
I mean, he's good, but his decision making is really bad. And man, do you remember World Cup 2022? I think it's 2020 was played in 2021. Yeah.
Yeah.
If he had pass that ball to was Mbappe coming on
I
the
think
left
it was,
side
yeah.
instead of shooting when the
Because Mwani was
goalkeeper
playing
is
in the
just
center.
there.
Yeah.
They will have won.
I would. Yeah.
You know. Oh,
Well, however, what do you think that his going price is going to be? What should it be? But then also,
I think
is he better than Rashford in the scenario? And I the answer to that is yes. I think if you have to make do with him.
Okay, now if we're saying that better than Rashford, now now how much will be the price? I don't know. If they get 40, 50, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
Not more than that.
Yeah,
and
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that especially because they entered this conversation around the time that the Rashford stuff was coming to an end. Like, it wasn't that they necessarily like picked him out of a crowd. They fell in love at first sight. They asked him to dance from across the room. The whole deal. It wasn't that. It's that, if Marcus Rashford's not the guy that we thought that he was, after renewing his contract for big bucks, we got to bring somebody in, and someone that's at least played at a pretty high level. You're right. He's proven that he's not always the best decision maker.
Yeah.
But in that young PSG side post Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, he did seem like he was one of the most interested in finding that identity. So if he's not going to go, everything seems like he'll come in ready to play.
Yeah.
And that's something that they need, and that Rashford doesn't provide, obviously. So
I get it.
It's worth experimenting with them, I think.
Trent Alexander-Arnold has rejected 3 offers from Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
And they could sell him in January for 30 million. Liverpool, they want Frimpong.
Yep.
Because they want Frimpong as well.
Yep. Because Alexander-Arnold, basically his contract ends in the summer.
Yeah.
So they're willing to let him go half a season early for 30 million, which is a shit ton of money to get for one. The second half of a season. But if you're someone like Real Madrid that kind of needs back coverage, do you just go ahead and bite the bullet and bring him mid-season?
Do you feel that will be a steal for Madrid? Which, because, get this, Rudiger was thought of being all at Chelsea.
Yeah.
Chelsea, that was their mistake, letting go Rudiger. Then Rudiger went to Madrid and turned out to
still have a good amount of time
have
left.
a lot of juice, Yeah.
And
I feel like they're about to repeat, and I guess probably Ancelotti is not part of his vision or something, because that will be kind of the same mistake. Because when you look at Liverpool, there's a lot of creation that comes from the fact that a Trent will do either long range passes, or it will even take the free kick.
So I think that letting him go like that is not a bad idea, because it's not like they're not turning away a player that wants to be there. If you've rejected 3 contracts already, if you've rejected it, then you might as well get a little bit of money out of him. Yeah. They do need Alexander-Arnold for the rest of the season, I think.
That actually makes sense.
They've got a good cushion on points in the Premier League, and they are doing very well in the league stage. Again, we don't know what that actually means in the Champions League.
Yeah.
to be at the top of this league stage, we don't know what good and bad performance really looks like yet. But 30 million to get him off the books 4 or 5 months earlier. He's a player that doesn't want to be there, but he's a player that will still work hard for the remainder of his contract, because he still wants to win the league title. That goes without saying. I think that you're in a good position either way. You either lose out on 30 million and keep a good player at your side for the remainder, or you cut him loose. And
I understand too why they're trying to get their 30M, because if the contract expired, they're not getting anything.
Yeah, he goes on a free, and he's been stalling them for about a season and a half now on this re-signing deal, and that would rub me the wrong way, because it's like, look, either just say it straight up.
Yeah.
That you're wanting to leave when the contract expires, and we won't even ask you again. But the fact that you're wasting our time, and it's a tactic, and I get that, but at a certain point, cut this motherfucker loose, get that money, bring in somebody else. Now 30 million isn't enough to cover the transfer of Frimpong, but that's a good little chunk of it, though. Yeah. And that's exactly who you want.
Yeah, that's definitely.
It's exactly who you want.
The person getting Trent Alexander-Arnold, though, if they getting him for 30M, 20M free, they're getting the best deal of their life right now.
And Madrid seem to be able to.
They always got.
They're getting these little good ass deals. They should be the ones that are getting all the crazy big deals. They're the ones that should be buying nothing but $100 million players, but they keep getting these good little deals. Man, it drives me nuts.
Let's go to a little segment here.
Oh shit.
Is this the end of the road for Rashford at United?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, 100%.
Because Ruben Amorim said, he was benched, And before they went to Etihad play, he told Rashford and I think was it Anthony
Garnacho. Yeah.
to just train.
Yep.
And it looks like since he's been there has been this incentive for Rashford has to try to prove himself to gain his place, gain the trust, and they have to see some kind of real firepower to actually play the game.
And it seems like Rashford just does not like having to prove himself. Seriously,
what I'm
it's
looking
been
at,
more
that's
than one
what-
manager that's asked him to do this, and he does not want to do this.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, and that's what it feels like. And looking at that, and it doesn't seem like Ruben Amorim has Rashford in his plan going forward. If Rashford done, and I think he said he's giving him one more chance, and that's
Did you see what he said in the press conference after the game yesterday? Because someone asked him about Rashford and Garnacho.
Did I say? I think I saw. He
He
said,
said-
Ruben. Yeah, go ahead.
No, he said something around along the lines of, like it wasn't a fitness thing.
That's
Certain you're just expected to train at a certain level, but he also said, you're expected to dress a certain level.
Yeah.
I
got
eat
it.
at a certain it was like every stage of living.
I got it up here for you. He said, I pay attention to everything.
Yeah.
The way you eat, the way you put your clothes to go to the game, everything. I make evaluation and then I decide.
Yeah.
There is a communication after the last training. They are all right. They had training this morning and I was there. They trained really well. So he is a coach of, this old school kind of coach.
Yeah.
Well, not really old school. It's how it's supposed to be. It's a hierarchy, right? You have to do what the coach says. You have to be a certain way. And he doesn't seem like he's going to give you that leeway.
I really like this fantasy scenario in my head of where Rashford was just really shitting the bed in training, was eating poorly, was showing up late, but one morning he walks in with a really obnoxious pair of pants on.
Yeah.
And Amorim goes,
That's it.
That's it. That's all.
Well,
that's all it took.
it's
Those
crazy.
fucking pants.
It's crazy. I think next week we might do actually a little bit, probably 3 to 4 segment, 4 minute on Rashford itself to see if don't know if that would be a thing. But
Yeah.
because this was the golden boy, golden child of Manchester United.
What the hell?
He did
Doing
a
stuff
lot
in
of
the
things.
community. The kids loved him. He
Oh,
loved
man.
the kids.
And in
What
community, he
happened?
was so engaged. He was so 2 seasons ago. He averaged 30 goal, and that's what the British press actually took to run a campaign on.
He loved
who should
Solskjaer,
be a
didn't
role
he?
model.
He loved Solskjaer, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
And Solskjaer loved him as well.
Yeah.
And then when he was gone, it was over. You're just like,
So-
what? Like, you still got to continue on, man. I don't get it.
So I don't know what happened, but let's go to Manchester United versus Manchester City. Looking at United and City, that game was really, really amazing. It was a good game, and Amorim has beaten this guy Pep Guardiola twice.
Yeah.
Once with Sporting in the last 4 weeks or 5 weeks.
It's badass.
And back again with United, and United hadn't won a game against City since 2021.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah. So you said it was an amazing game, and by that, do you mean just the outcome, of it? Because, to me, and you might disagree, it was a sloppy game. It was the game itself was forgettable. The 2 late United goals are that's all that we're talking about. We're not talking about the play style. Because even though United they had a good defensive shape in the first half, again, they're playing a very, very, very ragged City side, so we can't sit there and say that they held the iron gates, because they looked good considering what they were expected to do, but no one looked really convincing on offense. Diallo is an absolute star. I think Kobe Mainu is great. I think Manuel Ugarte played very well. But no, aside from the late goals, to me at least, and you can disagree, it wasn't a very forgettable match. I text my wife because we had plans and she wasn't able to watch the full game, but I had the game on as I was doing other things, and I basically said, "You picked a great Manchester derby to miss," because we couldn't watch it together, and she was like, "Oh wow, okay, yeah," because to me at least, no one really outside of those late goals
Yeah.
made you go, "Oh, that was impressive," or "I loved that," or "That was nice to see." It was a very ragged game on both sides, to me at least.
I'm not saying it. This is what I'm saying. It was pretty boring match overall. Yeah, except the last 10 minutes. Terrible citizens, negative streak. That's what we can deduce of. But we can't really put a finger on what's the style of play of United right now because they just got a new coach. They're still in the process of figuring out. But although it's happening, the scary part is time is on their side. If this United will be something very very exceptional in the future because you can kind of see some spurts.
Yes.
That's why I'm saying. So I'm not saying oh they played magically, but you can see the United is a little bit different from United of 3 months ago, because at least the players that are in there, they want to play. They look like they want to play. And another thing for Amad Diallo, and now you have to ask yourself, why was this kid on the bench when Erik ten Hag was there? Well, we can say probably he wasn't part of his plan, but it's crazy that he wasn't part of his plan and he was promoted to the senior side and he has that much talent and he was on the bench. Now looking at what Amorim is able to do with him, and Amorim even said this I think 2 weeks ago, he still needs some kind of physicality. So this is not even the best. If he stays at United, this is probably not even the best dialogue.
That's always the issue with and it really is almost always the issue with these very young players that come up. They're the one thing that they're missing the most is physicality.
Yeah,
they're not. I mean, they're still kids, man. So like, I get that. Foden, Saka, even Yamal. Like, you can just tell when they were very very young, very early in their call up. That's what was missing.
Yeah.
Usually it's a little, they hold onto the ball a little too long. They miss the initial, perfect line of sight for a pass, just lack of experience overall. But the big thing that you can say, they get muscled off the ball a little bit. They could challenge a little bit more. But I mean, that's something that comes along with it. And, I'm not saying that Erik ten Hag had the right decision of not having him in the senior squad, but sometimes it really does click like that in terms of this young player, this 17-year-old, this 18-year-old not being good enough for the senior squad, and then next Tuesday, holy shit, what's going on? And then like that run of form on Tuesday continues to Wednesday, and then Thursday, and then Friday, and then on Monday they're in the senior squad. It's just like it really can happen within like a week where it clicks, and maybe the change up in training kind of brought out the highlights in what he had. But yeah, I mean, it's just like sometimes it really does just click that way, and all of a sudden you wake up next week and you're 3 times better than you were when you're that age. It's pretty wild.
Definitely. And that's why I think they have. You can see if they continue on this, next season will really be the season that we really get to see what's his philosophy, what's the ideology, what's his playing style. I mean, Amorim, what's United identity. But for now, we can actually have a little bit of hope for those that support United, because at some point United was just a 3-point giver. So you meet them, for sure you're getting your 3 points. And so at least right now it looks like it. Although we can say City is not the best city, but that's life. We can go around and say, well, because if this was a cup, they would have won, and it wouldn't be about you were not the best that day.
Yeah.
That's on you. But I liked so far what I'm seeing, and the kid, man, that last goal. That last goal was amazing. He should not. Lisandro Martinez should not have been allowed to have the space to let that pass go. But also, Diallo should not have been able to cut inside Matheus Nunes. Vardiol should have been hot on him, and he was not. Diaz couldn't have gotten there if he tried, but he was the only one that, like I said, seemed like he knew what was going on. Ederson rushes up way too early, but all of those mistakes still. The touch over the top of Ederson, and then that tight angle into the left corner, like that's a lot of work for a kid to be asked to do. So it's not. It's wild. Actually, what he reminds me of, Valverde. Just the work output. That's not necessarily the overall, but because Valverde is a player, he's not crazy fast as you Vinicius, you Mbappe, you Saka, whatever. But he's not slow too. But the one thing he has most over everyone that I see, it's like the ability to just be everywhere. It's just crazy.
And kind
He
of
has
do everything.
lungs.
Yeah.
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 So that's the thing about it. Well, let's go to Arsenal versus Everton. Wait, before we go there, so I read this comment and they were saying that because it's Pep Guardiola, if I was another coach, he would have been sacked by now. What do you think about it?
It depends on. I think it depends on the level of the organization itself.
Yeah.
I think that if it's Chelsea, the answer is yes. If it's Southampton or Brentford, the answer is no.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So I do think
But
that
this is
his
City, though.
why exactly? I think that his name is allowing him to stay a little bit. Yes, I do think so. Yeah.
My fear is I was discussing this with someone else, and he was asking me about my top 3 coaches right now, and I said this. I said Pep will be the first one. The second one will be Ancelotti would be the first one. Pep will be the second, and Mourinho will come third. And if you had asked me this question in 2012, Mourinho was the first one for me.
Yeah.
And we were going back and forth, and I told him the reason, and he don't like Pep, and there's all that allegations and whatnot, and that he doesn't build teams and left and right. But I told him it doesn't matter if you win consistently. That's how the great we can be in the race together, and you can say you did this, did that, at the end did you win the race? That's what matters. They're not gonna ask if you did that. These are all sides. We don't care about it. And looking at Pep, the philosophy, even the new kind of, like, you think about it, he birthed a whole generation of playing style and coaches. So you can say he's one of the changing figures in this modern era of football, and really impactful. Now, Mourinho, the reason why I brought that up is because I feel like he shouldn't do what Mourinho did, because Mourinho it's a good coach, don't get me wrong. And I love Mourinho. That's my coach. Actually.
I know, yeah.
That's my coach. Just because he got everything. He got the crazy.
Yeah. you say, like, we've talked about this, like, on and off the podcast. If one of us says his name, both of us just smile.
Yeah, he just got it.
So
he's just one of those people that happy. He's just like, I know some, like, because it's controversial. I love controversial figures, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason why I say this is because I felt like he didn't quit football before football kind of left him behind, and now he kind of tarnishes your legacy, because now on average now you have a lot of bad performances everywhere, or even have been sacked everywhere. Now that also adds up when we start considering. It doesn't, we can't say, we will neglect the fact that you've been sacked here and there, but all that counts in determining how your legacy. That's how I see it. But let's go to Arsenal versus Everton. Arsenal had a interesting game for the Arsenal fans, and you know who you are.
Another pedestrian performance. You just really have issues finishing. The inclusion of Odegaard in the midfield is obviously the remedy for a lot of problems, but unfortunately getting the ball in the back of the net's not one of them. You still need, and I do think that Kai Havertz provides it's the same thing as last season. He does provide some goals. He does provide some assists. He does sort of act like this false nine that's job is more to distract from what's actually going on. Even if that means just kind of standing around like a putz sometimes, taking up space, sucking up oxygen. Seriously, like, sometimes it works. Sometimes you see Saka and Odegaard and even Rice in the middle building something up, and you see Havertz drawing somebody in to get pinched inside, and then Saka kicks it back out to the line. You see these things happen. But when that doesn't work properly, all of a sudden it's just a waste of space in the field. They can really use somebody, I think, like Dusan Vlahovic, which he is linked to in the summer. But you needed to solve that last summer. But anyway, about this performance.
But are you going for Vlahovic? Like, I feel like you should go for. I know he's good. He's a 9. Don't get me wrong. But he's not pacey. He's not. Why wouldn't you go for someone that has pace, younger? I
Yeah.
mean, Velozquez is long.
You know, so well, it doesn't seem like they really want an attacker. It looks like the wingers are the ones that are in charge of getting in behind the defender and really rushing the ball out into the attacking third. I don't know if they really want a striker that needs a lot of pace, because the way that they smother you with possession in your final third, or at least try to,
Yeah.
all of a sudden Vlahovic is like in or around the box by the time that he's expected to get the ball fed to him. Because a lot of it is Martinelli and Saka like getting the ball all the way down to the line as close as they can, and then shoving it in with some sort of like a little quick.
Do you feel like Arteta right now has a bit of limitation when it comes to different style and accommodating what the situation requires to? Because and I say this and you get the chance to answer, because when you look at Arsenal in sense, if you don't have Odegaard, the only person that you can count on stepping on will be Saka. And if you don't have Saka and Odegaard, or either or, and if either or are not performing well, now you are in a bit of a situation where you require another plan, probably switching or another tactics. But do you feel like Arteta is kind of limited there?
Yeah. I mean, you obviously see that there's a captain in each tier.
Yeah.
Of possession of the ball. You know, you have Saliba's captain of that back line. Odegaard's in charge of the creativity in the ball and the production in the midfield, and then Saka's usually the guy that has the last touch in the final third to get to the goal scoring opportunity, whether it's him taking it himself or crossing it back through. But yeah, like, it's not really coming from a lot of other places. I do think that some of the lack of productivity does stem from Martinelli being a bit wasteful in his final touches, both for, you know, goal scoring opportunities, and it does seem like he kind of just takes the ball into no man's land down the wing. You don't feel very confident in what he can do aside from feed it right back to the midfielder that distributed to him, which is usually Rice and Marino, who are not instinctively the creative players in their build-up. So like I think that if it is going to go according to his plan, like I said, you know, because they high press to get the ball back, and it's all about build up of possession. Once you get down to the final third, and even your midfielders are kind of around the 18-yard box, kind of trying to poach everything in, I think someone tall like Vlahovic that's more physical than Havertz, because Havertz is tall, he's not very physical, but he doesn't really need to run to get behind anybody, and he is that one-touch goal scorer that once the ball's into him around the keeper, he can cycle it in. Like, he's not my number one choice either, but I've seen for 2 seasons now that's who's on their short list of like 3 guys. At the end of the day, fucking pull the trigger, bring someone in, and you know it's looking better and better. Bring him in the longer that we're seeing us not with someone. So if that's who it's going to be, that's fine. I'm less interested in who it's going to be now, as long as it's somebody coming in.
How about Martinelli? For me, I feel like we should Arsenal should try to get another left wing. When you look at Martinelli, I mean, playing against Young is 39. And he couldn't do anything against 39 years old. That just pocketed him. And you look at it, and I always said this, I feel like they need a mirror of Saka on that side at least.
Well, and because
just
it's like
to balance things out.
It's and Ashley Young had him in his pocket not because they rival each other on pace, but because you know what Martinelli's going to do. He's deceiving because he looks like he has good dribbling ability. He's quick with the ball at his feet. The thing is, if you're going to be a dribbler, you kind of need to have more than 1 or 2 tricks. It's like I know what you're going to do. You can get in behind me, that's fine. I know exactly what angle to close you down on. And once I'm right in front of you on the wing, you're doing 1 or 2 things, and you don't do either of those particularly well. Whereas Saka, you know, he is a good dribbler. You do know what he's going to do, but his ability to still cycle the ball in from either foot, it's good enough to where like you can still know what he's going to do, but he can still do it.
He has more options. That's been my feeling for Arteta right now, especially open play. Now that this match, they didn't have they didn't score on set pieces, which is one of their tricks. And what do you do if you don't have set pieces? You gotta open play. And if no one is helping or creating that open play, then it becomes difficult. I think these are all issues that they should try to fix, because I don't think there's anything wrong with the defense. It's mostly the ability to produce.
I think that Urian Timber's a really good addition. I think that he does a lot offensively as well. He creates a lot of complications when he comes up into the midfield. He does what Zinchenko was trying to do 2 seasons ago of, he is your fullback, but on the offensive, he is tapering out into the midfield a little bit more and helping with the build-up, and he can cycle back on defense and is a better defender at the same time. So he's helped their defensive issues quite a bit, and Gabriel had a great game coming back as well.
Definitely.
Even though Kevior held it down pretty well, I will say he has mistakes in him, but when he needed to cover for Gabriel, he did a pretty good job overall.
Let's go to our before we move to our top 10 top 10 teams of the week.
Just where they're like our power rankings as of right now, basically.
Oh, power ranking top 10. Before we do the top 10 highest rated players in Europe's top 5 leagues. So you consider top 5 leagues, and you know it if you're not following football.
If you don't know, then you're
La
a
Liga,
fucking idiot.
Premier League,
Bundesliga,
Ligue
1, Serie A.
Ah, you said Ligue 1, pretty good.
Nah.
Bukayo Saka.
Yep.
First one, Jamal Musiala. Second one, Cole Palmer. Third one, Harry Kane, Lamine Yamal, Omar Mamouche. That's interesting. Florian Wirtz, Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr. and Rafinha. Another thing that just discussed that for kind of just 2 minutes before we move to we close with our power rankings. One team that is interesting that they play humble and kind of you feel a sense of freeness and je ne sais quoi in the style. It's Chelsea, where it feels like they all have kind of book plan. When you ask the coach, he said, we don't really chase title, we're just trying to win the next game. And you ask Jackson, he said he was title. You don't usually think about that. Just the next game, and they're doing so well right now. So well, and one thing I would say, I feel like the identity of Chelsea, it's being molded each day, each game, each matches, because now there's a hierarchy, there's a cohesion, the players actually understand each other, and they play like they're looking like a team now. It's very dangerous for the next season if they continue this. Another one is Nottingham Forest. Crazy.
Yeah, they snuck up and then they lost a couple and went down and then they're back up again. So they're like, okay, I guess you are in the top, 6 discussion by the end of the season. I mean, because we're approaching halfway.
That's why I kind of always like these leagues, because I always want to see who's the token guy this season. Who's that guy to break in the top 5 or top 6? Brighton was doing that at some point. Aston Villa did it. But Aston Villa is kind of just rotating around now. I feel like it's the guy. Some other teams, West Ham kind of tried. I just like seeing that because it brings a new aspect and new competitivity and just put the light on other players that we probably wasn't on our radar.
Yeah.
Go with our power rankings.
Let's get into these. Oh, you want to start? Hell yeah, I'll start. You ready for this? This is going to be amazing. I'm kidding. It's probably not going to be amazing. Number 1, Liverpool. Okay. Obviously, has to be, I think. 2, Inter Milan. Yeah. 3, Bayern Munich.
Oh, Bayern Munich.
Who do you think it was going to be?
Lazio. Is it Lazio?
No. They're doing very well in the Europa League. There's still about 7 or 8 in Serie A. I try to have current form in both domestic and in European. Okay. I'm trying to do that at least. Number 4, Arsenal. Number 5, Barcelona.
Okay.
Number 6, Bayer Leverkusen. Number 7, Atletico Madrid.
Oh wow.
11-game win streak, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Number 8, Chelsea.
Okay.
Number 9, Atalanta. Number 10, Napoli.
Oh dang. Okay. I see that.
The reason that Chelsea are so low in that is because the aggregate that I've put together is based on a European competition. Yeah, and they're undefeated in the Conference League, which again, the Conference League is important. Like, I like that there's a third system now, but they're
playing the highest.
They're able to put all their eggs in the Premier League basket, and they're doing very well with that. But they're not spread so thin. If you look at the squads that they're fielding for the Conference League, they're putting their C teams out there and still crushing these teams 5-0.
So that's what I'm thinking. Chelsea might be scared if they continue like this.
Well, they are going to technically be European champions this season, especially because I really hate that the UEFA competitions don't have the trickle down, the relegations, because Chelsea is the only team in that Conference League as of now that even has a shot of winning this thing. But if certain clubs from the Europa League trickled down as well,
then
they might meet up in the final and upset them. But yeah, Chelsea's going to be a European champion regardless this season. And looking back at this really fast, I think Arsenal at number 4 might be a tiny bit high. But I don't feel confident in a Leverkusen side. I don't know about that.
Because Leverkusen is kind of killing it.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I would move Leverkusen up to 3, Bayern at 4, Arsenal at 5.
Okay.
And then let Barcelona take in because they are not performing that well at the moment. But they're still creating chances. They're just having trouble finishing Barcelona. And so.
Did you say Paris Saint-Germain? Did you mention them?
No.
Oh, dang.
No, they're crushing their league, but they're out of the Champions League zone at the moment. They'll get in. They'll squeak in, I think.
Yeah.
Shit.
Okay. Mine is not.
You better not have PSG in yours, man.
Oh, mine.
I know you are. I know you are.
Liverpool, the first one. Second, I'll go for Bayern, and third, I really want to do Barcelona, but they've been losing a lot lately.
Yeah.
It's been
but they
like
still
half.
But they haven't lost steam. They're still trying. I would give grace to that.
I would do third. I would just do third Inter, just because of how performance both sides, not just the league.
And they always slide under the radar.
Yeah,
they're always in the top 2 or 3 of every fucking competition, and no one talks about them because they're not the most dazzling to watch.
I think also marketing wise, they're not good at marketing.
I agree, dude.
Yeah,
like because we've even had. I've done it too. Even though I've made a point now to keep them near the top, they slip my mind.
Yeah,
not because they're playing poorly, but you just for some reason Inter Milan does not. Get the headlines. They're not on ESPN anywhere. Yeah.
Anyway. So I think they gotta look into their marketing. I think 4th will be Barcelona, 5th will be Madrid, 6th will be I got Tottenham in mind just because how good they play. Although we can say the league or whatnot, but these guys, they beating teams. The managers of the opposing team leaves before. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
Oh, Tottenham versus
was this Europa League?
No, it was the Premier League actually.
Okay.
When they beat 4-0, was it 4-5-0?
They beat Brentford, didn't they? Was it Brentford?
Yeah,
I think
the manager left before the game even finished.
That's awesome.
It's like, yeah, I'm out of here.
He was heating up the car.
So 7, I'd say 7 Tottenham, 8 Chelsea, 9 Atlanta.
Yeah.
And 10 Arsenal. That's
okay.
for me.
Okay.
The reason is just, well, you can interchange Arsenal for Atlanta or even Arsenal at 8, but
even though Arsenal are second in the Champions League table right now, with 2 games left in the league stage,
I wonder if I think it's the teams.
Yeah.
If they met different teams,
they had
because I'm thinking of the caliber too, in the sense of a team as a whole.
They beat PSG.
Yeah, but
and they beat Sporting when Sporting were in the top 8, and they beat Monaco when they were in the top 8.
Is this Sporting with Amorim or without Amorim?
That was with Amorim, I believe.
No, they just beat them right now, right? Amorim had just left.
Son of a bitch.
When if you give me the timeline, I can tell you.
I'll give you the timeline. You just stay still.
Well,
no, it was the first game in charge with them. But I will say that they beat Sporting and Monaco when they were both in the seeded positions of the Champions League. So I'm not like, will they finish in that area? No. But
well, we never know. The way things are, which I always think, which I think that when they start kicking in high gear, things will shuffle around and all these guys will have to answer for their crimes. But
very sinister, very sinister.
But this is a good show. Like I said before,
no. This was a great show.
This is a great show.
This is a great show.
Definitely.
You have nothing to complain about anybody that's complaining about anything right now.
Top Corner Podcast. Go on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you can consume and find us. Go there and
get
we're
the
on
full
Spotify.
like full length episodes early on Spotify. The same day that they were recorded, baby boy.
Yes.
Get the whole thing.
All right. Let's give a round of applause here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Top Corner Podcast, we say bye and see you guys next week.
Yeah, see you next week.